Welcome back, coin hunters. What if the ordinary-looking coins sitting in your pocket, your old collection, or even a forgotten jar at home could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, or in some extraordinary cases, enough to make you a millionaire?
Imagine finding a penny in your pocket change, and discovering it's worth $1 million. Sounds crazy, right? But for one lucky person, that dream just became a reality. Because while most folks are throwing these coins in jars, a specific 1951 wheat penny holds a secret that could change your life. And you might have one right now. Stick with me, because what I'm about to show you is going to blow your mind. And by the end of this video, you are going to be digging through every jar, every couch cushion, and every old coin collection you can get your hands on. You see, most people look at a 1951 penny and see just a rusty old piece of copper. They see a 1-cent piece that's been sitting in a drawer for decades, worth nothing more than its face value. But you're about to learn the truth. You're about to learn the tiny details that separate a 1-cent coin from a potential life-changing payday. Let's talk about the 1951 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny. The San Francisco Mint produced over 136 million of these bad boys back in 1951. That's a massive number. And because there are so many, most of them are exactly what you think they are, common, everyday pennies. You can find a circulated 1951 wheat penny in your pocket change, and frankly, it's often worth just a couple of bucks, maybe even a little more if it looks nice. But here is where the mystery begins. While most are common, a tiny fraction of these pennies are hiding a secret. A secret that makes them worth a whole lot more than a loaf of bread. We're talking about errors. Mint mistakes. And this is where the true value of the 1951 gets truly insane. Recently, auction data is showing that these pennies, when perfectly preserved, are fetching serious cash. Are we talking hundreds of dollars? Thousands? According to professional coin grading services like NGC, an average uncirculated 1951 penny can be worth anywhere from a few bucks to maybe a few $100s. But that's just the beginning. If you find one in pristine condition, what we call a mint state coin, the value jumps quickly. We're talking $300, $400, sometimes even $600. That's a pretty good return for a 1-cent investment, right? But hold on to your hats, because we are just getting started. While a 1951 wheat penny is generally common, there is a specific variety that makes the coin extraordinarily rare. I'm talking about a specific error coin that is the holy grail for collectors. I'm talking about the 1951 D over S over mintmark error. I can see you raising your eyebrows. What in the world is that? During the minting process back in 1951, the dies used to stamp the coins were often repurposed. Sometimes, a die from the Denver Mint, which would be stamped with a D, was reused at the San Francisco Mint. Instead of grinding off the D completely, they stamped an S right on top of it. The result? A coin that looks like it has a S mint mark, but if you look closely under a magnifying glass, and I mean really closely, you can see the ghost of a D lurking underneath. If you have a 1951 over mintmark penny, you are holding a piece of minting history. And history, my friends, pays well. But wait, there is an even more common error that you absolutely need to check for, and this one is a game changer. I'm talking about the 1951 double die obverse error. This is a mouthful, but it's crucial. On a normal penny, the lettering is crisp and clear. But on a double die, the letters appear to have a shadow or a ghost image next to them. This happens when the die strikes the coin twice at slightly different angles. You'll see it most clearly in the big, bold letters on the front of the coin, "In God We Trust," or "Liberty." If you see this doubling, you are looking at serious money. In fact, a 1951 double die obverse penny in good condition recently sold for over $2,000 at auction. But that's just one error. What if I told you there are even weirder, even more valuable mistakes? There have been discussions in the collector community about certain 1951 pennies that were struck through grease, where the die got filled with gunk and the letters didn't come out right. Or even a tapered planchet, which means the metal the penny was made from was slightly off. Each of these flaws can make your penny extremely rare. So, let's get down to brass tacks. How much is this penny actually worth? How much could you actually get for it? While a standard 1951's penny might be worth $1 or $2, the high-grade examples with these errors are the ones that bring the big bucks. That recent auction for an MS-68 red 1951's wheat penny. That coin, because it was basically perfect, is expected to fetch anywhere from a few hundred to potentially thousands depending on the bidding war. The market is there. Collectors are actively hunting for these coins, especially the errors. The value is real, and the search is on. Now, here is the part where I want you to pay very close attention. You need to check your coin collection right now. Pause this video. Go grab that old jar of pennies you've been ignoring. Or that bag of coins from your grandma's attic. Look for the 1951 date. Look for that small S mint mark under the date. Then, look at the lettering. Does Liberty look doubled? Do you see an extra D ghosting under the S? If you find a 1951's in pristine, shiny red condition, or you find any of these error coins, you are not looking at a penny. You are looking at a down payment on a car. Maybe even a house. This might be the one time that old saying is actually true, one man's trash is another man's treasure. If this video got your heart pumping, make sure to smash that like button. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more hidden money secrets. You never know what fortune is hiding in your spare change. See you in the next one. You know that jar of old pennies you've got sitting on your dresser? The one you've been meaning to take to the bank for like 10 years. Yeah, that one. What if I told you that inside that jar, buried under all that pocket change, there could be a single coin worth more than $1 million? I'm not talking about some ancient Roman treasure. I'm talking about a penny from 1957. But not just any 1957 penny. A specific one. And the crazy part? It could be hiding in your house right now. Now, you might be thinking, a 1957 penny? My grandpa has a bunch of those in a shoebox somewhere. And you're right. Most 1957 pennies are worth exactly 1 cent. In fact, the Philadelphia Mint cranked out over 280 million of them with no mint mark, and Denver produced more than 1 billion. That's a lot of pennies. Most of them are worth maybe a few cents if they're in decent shape. You could have a roll of them and barely afford a cup of coffee. But stick with me, because there's a reason we're talking about this specific year. You see, 1957 was a huge year for the Lincoln wheat penny. It was one of the last years they made them with that classic wheat stalk design on the back before they changed it to the Lincoln Memorial in 1959. That makes the series itself collectible, sure. But the real money? The life-changing money? That's all about the details. And I mean microscopic details. We're talking about secrets hidden in plain sight on the surface of the coin. So, what makes a 1957 penny worth $1 million? Let's get into it. First, you need to check the condition. This is a big one. Remember that penny your grandpa had in the shoebox that was all scratched up and dirty? That's what collectors call circulated, and it's not going to pay off your mortgage. The real value comes when the coin is in pristine, untouched condition. I'm talking about never having been used in a vending machine, never dropped on the sidewalk, never even touched by human fingers. We're talking about a mint state coin, especially with the red color designation. That means the penny has kept at least 95% of its original coppery shine. Most old pennies turn brown over time from oxidation, but if you find one that's still brilliantly red, that's a unicorn. A 1957 penny graded MS-66 with that red color can be worth a pretty penny, but an MS-67? Now we're talking. According to expert price guides, a 1957D penny in MS-67 red condition has been valued at over $1.5 million. Yes, you heard that right. $1.5 million for a 1-cent coin. Why? Because almost all of them got used and lost their luster, so finding one that's factory fresh after all these decades is nearly impossible. But wait, it gets even wilder. Let's talk about the mint mark, because this is where it gets really specific. Look at your penny. Is there a little D stamped on it right under the date? Or is there no mint mark at all? If you have a regular 1957 penny from the Philadelphia Mint, with no mint mark, it's probably worth, well, a penny. But if you have that D from the Denver Mint, you're in a different ballpark entirely. That D means it was part of a massive production run of over 1 billion coins. But here's the plot twist: the combination of the D mint mark and that flawless, brilliant red condition we just talked about is what makes history. Because they made so many of them, nobody expected them to be valuable. They were tossed around, spent, and lost. So finding one that survived in perfect condition is astronomically rare. But let's say your penny isn't perfect. Maybe it's got a little nick or some wear. Don't throw it back in the jar yet, because we're not done. We're about to go down the rabbit hole of errors. Imagine this: you pull out a 1957 penny and you look at the word Liberty on the front. Wait a second, is that a scratch between the B and the E? That's not a scratch, my friend. That's a BIE error, named because the die break makes the word look like it says Liberty. It's a super common error for the 1950s, and while it doesn't make you a millionaire, if it's a dramatic enough break, it can be worth a few $100 to collectors who love that kind of weird anomaly. Suddenly, that beat-up penny in your cup holder is worth a nice dinner out. But let's dream bigger. What if the error is more extreme? What if you find a 1957 penny that has a piece of extra metal sticking out from the edge, or the design is double-struck? I'm talking about a major mint error. There are listings online where people are asking crazy money for errors like a misprinted L in Liberty, with some sellers hoping to get hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Are they actually worth that? Most of the time, no. Most minor errors are just fun oddities. But the chance, that slim, adrenaline-pumping chance, that you might have an authentic, high-grade error coin. That's what makes this hobby so addictive. That's the treasure hunt. You could be looking at a coin worth $5,000, or even more if you stumble upon an unrecognized variety that collectors go crazy over. Here's the reality check from the experts, though. The coin market is full of hype. You've probably seen those clickbait headlines screaming, 1957 penny worth $100 million. And while it's true that the most valuable penny ever sold, a 1943 copper cent, fetched over $1 million, experts say that the likelihood of finding one in your spare change is like winning the lottery. There are only a handful of those legendary million-dollar pennies, and they're usually already in high-end collections. That doesn't mean you shouldn't look. I'm telling you to go look. Right now. Grab that old coffee can, dump out the change, and check every 1957 penny you can find. But don't just check the date. Check the back for the wheat stalks. Flip it over and look for a D, or the lack of one. Hold it up to the light and see if it's shiny and red, or dull and brown. Look at the Liberty for any weird breaks or marks. Look at Lincoln's profile for any doubling or cracks. You are looking for the needle in the haystack, but the haystack is your own couch cushions. Could it be worth just 1 cent? Absolutely. Could it be worth thousands? It's possible. Or, could you be holding a coin so rare that it's been valued at over $1 million? That's the dream. The American dream, hiding in plain sight, tucked away in a dusty jar, just waiting for you to take a closer look. Don't just spend that change. Check it. Every single penny could be a key to a hidden fortune, and the only way to find out is to pay attention. If you do find something weird, don't clean it, that ruins the value, and don't sell it to the first person who makes an offer. Do your research. The secret is out there. And if you want to know what other seemingly ordinary coins could be hiding a fortune, smash that subscribe button right now. Because I'm going to keep showing you exactly what to look for. This is the stuff they don't teach you in school, the hidden money hiding in your spare change. So, what are you waiting for? Go hunt. And tell me in the comments, have you ever found a weird old penny? Let me know, I read them all. Imagine walking into a grocery store, buying a pack of gum, getting a penny back in change, and finding out that penny is worth over $1 million. That really happened. And it could happen to you. I'm talking about a specific 1958 Lincoln wheat penny, a coin that looks almost exactly like the pocket change you probably have sitting in your car's cup holder right now. In January 2023, one of these pennies sold for a staggering $1.136 million. You need to check your change before you accidentally spend a fortune. This specific penny is the 1958 double die obverse, and it is one of the rarest and most valuable coins in American history. The Lincoln Wheat penny is the classic American 1-cent coin that was minted from 1909 all the way up to 1958. It's called the wheat penny because of the 2 stalks of wheat on the back. After 1958, the design changed to the Lincoln Memorial, making the 1958 penny the very last of its kind. They minted over $250 million of these coins in Philadelphia, and over 800 million in Denver. Because they made so many, you can find them everywhere. Usually, they are only worth a few cents. But there is a tiny, almost invisible detail that can change a regular penny into a life-changing payday, and it is all about a colossal mistake at the United States Mint. When the mint creates coins, they use a steel die to stamp the design onto the metal. Usually, this is done with a single strike. However, way back in 1958, one of the dies for the front of the penny was struck twice by the hub, slightly misaligned. This created a double die error on the obverse, meaning the letters on the front of the coin look like they have a heavy, blurry shadow. This is especially noticeable on the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." The doubling is severe enough to be seen with the naked eye if you know what you're looking for. That subtle blurriness is the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and one worth over $1 million. The story of how these pennies were found is the stuff of treasure hunter legends. For years, they sat hidden in bank vaults and coin jars, totally unrecognized. They weren't discovered as a rare variety until the 1980s. Think about that, these multi-million-dollar coins were out in the world, being spent on candy bars and newspapers for 30 years because nobody knew what they were. Today, after millions of eyes have searched for them, experts have only confirmed the existence of 3 of these specific double die pennies from 1958. That's right, only 3 are known to exist. Of those 3, the one that sold for $1.136 million was graded MS65 red, meaning it was in near perfect uncirculated condition. So what does that mean for you? It means we are living in a digital treasure hunt. Since only 3 of these specific pennies have been identified, it is entirely possible that another one is out there. Because the coins were released into circulation decades ago, they could be anywhere. They could be in a dusty old jar your grandpa left in the attic, a roll of pennies from the bank, or sitting right in your spare change drawer. Keep in mind, other 1958 era coins, like the BIE variety, can also be worth a nice chunk of change. Look at your 1958 pennies right now. If you see blurry or doubling on the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," do not spend it. Do not clean it, that actually ruins the value. If it's a standard 1958 penny with no errors, it's usually just a cool piece of history. But if you see that doubling, you are potentially looking at a life-changing amount of money. You might just be holding a hidden $1 million. Think you have one? Drop a comment and let us know what you found in your spare change today. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more hidden money secrets. You never know what fortune might be hiding in plain sight. What if I told you that a single penny, a coin you probably have in your pocket right now, could be worth enough to buy a new car, pay off your mortgage, or even set you up for life? I'm talking about a specific 1971 penny that collectors are hunting down as we speak, and the craziest part is, most people have no idea it even exists. They're spending it like it's nothing, while a few savvy people are cashing in for big money. Stick with me, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what this coin looks like, the tiny mistake on it that makes it worth a fortune, and how you can tell if you're holding one right now. You are not going to want to miss this. Let's be real, for most of us, pennies are an afterthought. We toss them in a jar, we leave them on the sidewalk, and honestly, some people even throw them away. It's just a penny, right? It can barely buy you a piece of gum. But here is where the mystery begins. In 1971, the United States Mint in San Francisco made a batch of pennies that were different. They were special. They were proof coins, meaning they were super high quality, mirror-like, and not meant for your pocket change. They were meant to be collector's items. But here's the twist, and this is where it gets good. Someone at the mint made a mistake. A big one. And that mistake is exactly why this coin is now a holy grail for collectors. Now, let's get into the detective work. This is the part where you need to pay close attention because the clues are tiny. We are talking about a 1971 South Lincoln Center with a mint mark. That S stands for San Francisco. And the magic word here is proof. But even among these proof coins, there is one specific error that makes all the difference. It's called a double die obverse. Sounds fancy, right? But basically, it's a ghost image. During the minting process, the die that stamps the coin's design, in this case Abraham Lincoln's face, had a slight slip and hit the coin twice. It's like the coin had a hiccup. You'll see it on the front of the coin. Look at the words, Liberty, and, In God We Trust. If you have the right one, you'll notice they look a little bit thicker, or maybe you'll see a little extra shadow next to the letters. It looks almost like it was double stamped. On a normal penny, those letters are crisp and single. On this $1 million penny, they are doubled because the die moved just a fraction of a millimeter between strikes. It's a tiny detail that creates a massive payout. But wait, it gets even more specific. You see, there are actually 3 different varieties of this double die error for the 1971 South Proof Lincoln Center. They're listed as FS032, FS033, and FS103. And just like in any good mystery, one of these is the real headliner, the rarest of them all. Most of the ones you find might have a tiny bit of doubling on the word liberty, but the really valuable one, the one we are talking about today, it has bold doubling on liberty and the phrase, In God We Trust. There's another version where the doubling is mostly just on liberty and the date, but the true king, the FS033, has that unmistakable ghosting on the top of the coin. And here is the kicker, according to coin experts, it's estimated that only about 3,000 of these specific error coins were ever made before the mint noticed the mistake and fixed it. That is incredibly rare. Now, if you have been hanging on my every word, and I know you are, here is the moment you've been waiting for. The big reveal. How much is this little copper disc actually worth? When this coin is in perfect, flawless condition, a PR69 deep cameo grade by a top grading service, it can sell for over $17,000 at auction. Imagine that. A penny turning into 17 grand. It's the kind of money that changes your month, pays off a credit card, or funds a vacation. But remember how I said some are rarer than others? Well, for the absolute cream of the crop, the ones with the boldest doubling, the price can go even higher. There are even rarer versions that can reach up to $10,350 or more. The value swings wildly based on condition, the specific variety of the doubling, and whether it has that beautiful, deep cameo finish. It's a high-stakes game where the prize is big. Now, take a deep breath, because here is where I ask you to be the hero of your own story. The only way to know if you have struck gold is to look. Right now. If you have a penny from 1971 with an S mint mark, grab a magnifying glass. I'm serious. Put the coin right under a bright light. Look at the word liberty. Do you see a second, faint set of letters overlapping the first? Does the inscription seem blurry or doubled? If it does, you might not just have a penny. You could have a $17,000 payday sitting in your change jar, a treasure that's been hiding in plain sight. It is a 1971 S penny, but only the one with the mint error. This penny is a classic example of why you should always check your change. The mint makes mistakes, and those mistakes become the most valuable coins in existence. It's a reminder that in the world of coin collecting, the thrill of the hunt is real. If you enjoyed this treasure hunt and want to learn more about other hidden gems that could be in your pocket right now, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. We dig up hidden money secrets so you can find the value in the everyday. And let me know in the comments, have you ever checked a penny for a double die? Or, better yet, have you ever found a rare coin? Share your story. I want to hear about your finds. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. You see that little penny sitting in your cup holder? The one you'd probably use to buy a piece of gum? Yeah, that one. What if I told you that depending on the year, that single piece of copper could be worth more than a brand new Tesla? Don't click away, because if you have a 1975 penny lying around, you might be sitting on $1 million mistake. I'm serious. There's a specific version of this coin that doesn't even look like Abraham Lincoln. And if you find it, well, let's just say your bank account is about to get a whole lot heavier. Listen, most people think old money is the only money. They see a 1943 steel penny or a 1955 double die and they freak out. But the real treasure? It's hiding in plain sight in the 1970s. Specifically, 1975. The US Mint was cranking out billions of these things. Over 5 billion at the Philadelphia Mint alone. That's more than 5,000 million pennies. So why on earth would a 1975 penny be valuable? Because of the no FG mistake. And the missing letters. And the no mint mark secrets. Over 5 billion of them were made. But a select few, a tiny, microscopic handful, have one major, glaring problem. And that mistake turns a worthless penny into a six-figure payday. But even if you don't have that specific $1 million error, there are tons of other ways this coin can make you money. We're talking about doubling that you can see with your own eyes, weird off-center strikes, and even pennies that were accidentally stamped on the wrong metal. You could have a coin worth enough to pay off your car. First, you need to look at the front of the coin. You're looking for Abraham Lincoln's profile. On a normal 1975 penny, you see the date, Liberty, and, In God We Trust. But in the collecting world, there's a notorious variety called the no FG variety. FG stands for Frank Gasparo. He was the guy who designed the back of the penny. His initials are usually hidden on the reverse near the bottom right. But on some 1975 pennies, they aren't there. It's a missing detail that makes the coin special. But that's not even the big one. The real holy grail. It's the 1975 no S penny. The S stands for San Francisco. Back then, the San Francisco Mint made proof coins, the shiny ones meant for collectors. But, a tiny number of them were shipped out without that S mint mark. If you find a shiny 1975 penny with no mint mark that should have one, you aren't just getting a new car. You're buying a house. Now, let's talk condition. One 1975 penny graded MS-68 red sold for a whopping $9,000. $9,000 for a single cent just because it was in perfect, flawless condition. The color matters too. A penny that has a bright, original red color is worth way more than one that's turned brown. So if you find one that's still shiny and red, take care of it. But wait, it gets better. What if your 1975 penny looks weird? What if Abraham Lincoln looks like he has no neck? You might think it's a bad fake, but it's actually a real error called a die polishing error. When the die that stamps the coin gets worn down, the mint polishes it. Sometimes they polish it too much. They erase Lincoln's neck. It's a crazy error that can be worth a lot of money to the right buyer. And then there are the double dies. This is where the design is stamped twice at a slight angle, making the letters look thick or blurred. You'll see it in Liberty or In God We Trust. If you hold your 1975 penny up to a magnifying glass and the letters look like they have a shadow or they're doubled, you might be looking at a coin worth anywhere from $50 to over $1,000. Let's talk about the weird stuff. The mistakes that make you go, how did that even happen? Imagine a penny that's silver. Sounds fake, right? But there are 1975 pennies that were struck on dime planchets. A dime planchet is smaller and silver in color. The mint accidentally fed a dime blank into the penny press. That silver penny can sell for over $600. Or what about the off-center strikes? If your coin is cut off-center by 40% or 50%, and you can still see the date, that's a massive error. These are practically impossible to find in your pocket change, but if you do, it's a paycheck. And there's even a weird one where a penny is folded over on itself and stamped twice. We call that a fold-over error. You're probably wondering what you've got in your pocket right now. You need to go through your old coin jars. Grab a magnifying glass. Look at every 1975 penny you have. Look for those missing letters. Look for that doubled text. Look for that missing mint mark. Here's a quick checklist to memorize. Is Lincoln missing his neck? Check the no neck or polished die variety. Does it look weirdly shiny or struck off center? Look at the reverse side for the initials, FG, near the building. Does the coin look like it's made of the wrong metal? You could be holding a coin that breaks records. A recent sale on heritage auctions for a high-grade 1975 penny pushed the price to over $9,000. And if you find that no S proof, you could be taking home $100,000 or more. That's money to buy a house, pay off debt, or start a business. So, what are you waiting for? Pause this video and go check your couch cushions. Check your car. Check your grandma's old coin collection. You might just find that one in a billion penny. If you find a 1975 penny that looks weird, hold on to it. Do your research. Don't sell it until you know exactly what it's worth. If this video helped you, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We drop videos like this every week, revealing the hidden money in your pocket. Drop a comment below and tell me, have you ever found a weird penny? I'd love to hear your story. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Ever looked at a quarter and thought, this might be my ticket to quitting my job? Today, we are talking about a specific coin, the 1976 Washington quarter, that if you have the right one, could be worth $1 million. But here is the catch, you might have one in your pocket right now. During the 1970s, the U.S. Mint released a special design to celebrate the 200th birthday of the United States, the bicentennial. But among the billions of quarters produced, a few with distinct errors have surfaced, and they are worth a small fortune. There are a few different flavors of these valuable errors. First, you have the double die errors, where the design elements appear twice, slightly offset. A 1976 quarter with a double die obverse, specifically the FS102 variety where, in God we trust, is clearly doubled, has been valued in the thousands, with high-grade examples selling for over $5,000. The same goes for the double die reverse, where you see the doubling on the drummer boy or the lettering. But that is just the tip of the iceberg. The real money lies in the off-metal strikes and double denomination errors. Imagine a quarter being struck over a penny, or a dime. A 1976 bicentennial quarter overstruck on a struck cent sold for thousands. These are incredibly rare and can reach astronomical prices in perfect condition. Some professional grading services have estimated that a perfect, high-grade off-metal strike could be valued at over $9,500. So, how do you spot one? For the common no mintmark or D mintmark versions, you are looking at 25 cents. But if you see an S mintmark and it's a silver-proof version in flawless condition, we are talking about $19,000. Before you empty your piggy bank, you need to know the truth. Many headlines claim billion-dollar quarters, but the Professional Numismatists Guild has debunked these as pure fantasy, noting that the highest price ever paid for any rare coin was far below those numbers. But the million-dollar question remains, is there a 1976 quarter worth $1 million? The potential is there for the rarest, most pristine error coins. The story is real, and the treasure hunt is on. Go check your change. Do you have any bicentennial quarters? Look closely at the back. What do you see? Let me know in the comments below. If you want to uncover more hidden money secrets, like and subscribe so you never miss out on finding your own fortune. You know that feeling when you're about to throw a handful of change into a vending machine, and you just don't care? Yeah, we've all been there. But what if I told you that the quarter sitting in your cup holder right now could be worth more than a brand new Tesla? Don't click away, because I'm about to show you exactly why the 1986 Washington quarter is the hidden treasure hiding in plain sight, and why one specific version of this coin has collectors losing their minds. Now, I want you to think about 1986 for a second. Top Gun was in theaters, the Mets won the World Series, and the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia was cranking out quarters like there was no tomorrow. In fact, they made over 551 million of them that year. That's over 500 million coins. So, logically, you'd think that means it's completely worthless, right? Pocket change. Nothing to see here. That is exactly what the average person thinks, and it is also exactly why this is the perfect opportunity for you to find a fortune. Here's the thing about the 1986p quarter. It is the classic bait and switch. Most of them are only worth 25 cents, maybe 30 cents if you're lucky. But deep inside those massive piles of common change, there are ghosts. There are coins that have secret variations, errors that happened in a split second at the mint, that completely transform their value. We're talking about coins that have sold for thousands of dollars. In fact, an absolute gem, graded MS-67, once sold for nearly $3,000. Not bad for a quarter, right? But wait, you've probably seen a few headlines or YouTube shorts talking about million-dollar quarters. Is this one of them? Maybe. But you need to know the real secret, the mechanical error that turns this coin from pocket change into a potential retirement plan. Alright, let's get into the weeds because this is where the money is. First, you have to look at the condition. Because over 551 million of these were made, they are common in low grades. But high-grade examples. In MS-67 condition. Those are actually considered a condition rarity. That just means finding one that looks like it was made yesterday is incredibly tough. That pristine one sold for $2,880. That's a nice chunk of change for just looking at the sharpness of George Washington's hair. But I can see you in the comments already, that's cool, but I want $1 million. Okay, I hear you. Let's talk about the real unicorns. You see, the mint makes mistakes. If you look closely and you see a missing letter, like the I in God we trust, is just gone. You might be holding an error coin that's worth serious money. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Imagine looking at your quarter and the design is all smashed together. That's an off-center strike, or maybe a broad-struck error, which happened when the collar die that holds the coin in place during stamping was missing. Or, and this is where it gets crazy, imagine finding a quarter where the front and the back of the coin are the exact same design. A two-tailed quarter. How is that even possible? Well, it happened. A two-tailed Washington quarter was actually authenticated and graded by PCGS. Talk about a unicorn. If you want to know if your quarter is just regular pocket change or a five-figure payday, you have to play detective. Look for anything weird. Does the edge of the coin look silvery, or is it a solid copper color? If it's missing its outer clad layer, you've hit the jackpot. Use a magnifying glass and look at the details. If the strike looks weak, if parts of the design are missing, or if you see what looks like cracks in the metal, you might be dealing with a die crack or even a cut error. A single missing letter or a weird doubled outline can mean the difference between buying a coffee and buying a used car. So, here is the million-dollar question. Are you going to check your pockets as soon as this video is over? Because I bet you have a jar of coins on your dresser right now full of these 1986 quarters. And maybe, just maybe, there's one in there that could change your life. Let me know in the comments, what's the oldest coin you've ever found in your pocket change? Look, if this video helped you, don't be the person who lets a fortune slip through their fingers. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell notification. You and I both know there's more hidden money out there, and I'm going to show you exactly where to find it. Check those pockets, check that change jar, and I'll see you in the next video. What if I told you that right now, sitting in a jar on your dresser, hidden in that old coffee can in your closet, or mixed in with the change in your car's cup holder, there could be a penny worth more than a brand new luxury car? We're not talking about some ancient coin from the 1800s. We're talking about a coin you could have gotten as change yesterday. A 2016 D. Lincoln penny. That's right. The humble penny, a coin so worthless most people throw it away, could actually be your ticket to a massive payday. I'm talking about a specific 2016 D penny with a secret that the United States Mint never wanted you to find, and it could be worth $1 million. Here's the thing. In 2016, the Denver Mint, that's what the D stands for, produced nearly 4.5 billion pennies. Billion with a B. So logically, they should be worth exactly 1 cent each, right? That's what most people think. But what if I told you that buried in that sea of 4 billion coins, there are a handful of ghosts? Coins that were struck wrong, in a way that makes them incredibly rare and incredibly valuable. I know, you're probably thinking, another clickbait video about a penny being worth $1 million. Yeah, right. I get it. But stick with me for just 60 seconds, because I am going to show you exactly what to look for. You are going to want to check your pockets after this video. To understand why this penny is worth so much, we have to look at how money is made. Think about a factory assembly line working at lightning speed. The US Mint produces coins at a staggering rate. We're talking about 750 coins per minute. That's faster than the blink of an eye. With that kind of speed, mistakes are inevitable. Now, the standard 2016 D penny you see in circulation is made of copper-plated zinc. It's got the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln on the front and the Union shield on the back. It's common, it's everywhere, and it's worth face value. But our coin is different. This is where the hunt begins. But those are just the rookie errors. Let's move to the intermediate level. This is where things get really interesting. Look closely at the mint mark. That tiny D under the date. See it? Now, what if that D isn't exactly where it's supposed to be? What if it's floating? What if it's tilted? What if it looks like it's been stamped twice, giving it a blurry, ghost appearance? That is a misplaced mint mark error. Now, this might not sound like a huge deal to you and me. It's just a tiny letter, right? But to coin collectors, this is a massive deal. It's an anomaly. It's a mistake from the mint that is relatively scarce on modern coins. And scarcity, my friends, is where the money is. How scarce are we talking? Well, in 2020, a 2016 D Lincoln penny with a misplaced mint mark, graded MS60, which is basically mint state or uncirculated, sold at a Great Collections auction for $415. $415 for a penny that most people would toss in a Coinstar machine. But hold on, because the next error is the one that sends chills down the spine of collectors. The Grand Slam. The $1 million mistake we mentioned at the start. What if I told you there was a way to completely change the face of the coin? An error so rare, so distinct, that it transforms a common 2016 D into a legendary artifact? We're talking about a double die obverse. Now, I mentioned earlier that machines at the mint are moving fast. Sometimes, the die used to strike the coin is itself created with a flaw. It gets struck by the hub, a master die, more than once. If the hub moves slightly between strikes, the letters and numbers on the die itself get doubled. If the doubling is strong, and it shows on the date and the word Liberty, you have found the Holy Grail. In 2016, a doubled die was discovered by a sharp-eyed collector named Jay Painter. He found a 2016 cent with strong extra thickness on the letters of Liberty. This isn't just some filled die or a machine doubling that adds no value. This is a genuine, cataloged variety. And in the coin world, that is gold. Now, I've done some digging, and I'm hesitant to throw a hard number on this specific error without having a certified example in front of me, because values fluctuate wildly based on how pronounced the doubling is and the condition of the coin. But listen to the logic. The US Mint is so advanced now that errors like this are becoming incredibly rare. They have quality control checks that catch most mistakes. But that rare 2016 double die. It got through. It's out there. Because a coin is only worth what someone is willing to pay for it. The 2016 D with a misplaced mint mark sold for hundreds. Standard 2016 D pennies in perfect, uncirculated, red condition can sell for over $150 at MS68. That's a 10,000% return. But a major error like a double die or a cud, a die break that creates a blob of metal on the coin, can fetch a massive premium. So, here's the takeaway. This is not financial advice, this is a treasure hunt. You need to go through your coins. Go through the change in your car. Go to the bank, buy a roll of pennies, and look for a 2016 D, check the date. Check the mint mark. Check the letters. Does the D look weird? Does it look like the ghost of Lincoln is staring back at you? Do you see a blob of metal on the shield? If you find one that looks even slightly different, do not spend it. Do not clean it. Hold it very carefully by the edges, like it's $1 million artifact. I'd recommend getting a small plastic case for it, known as a flip, to protect it. The next step would be to do a little more research or even send a photo to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. It's like a real-life treasure hunt, and the prize could be life-changing. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We dig through the change so you don't have to, exposing the hidden secrets and forgotten treasures that could be right under your nose. Leave a comment below and tell me, what's the weirdest coin you've ever found in your pocket change? You could be holding $1 million in your hand right now and not even know it. I'm talking about a specific coin, a 2017 D quarter, that most people treat like pocket change. But here's the secret, a tiny detail on this coin could separate you from early retirement and just another day at the office. These coins are out there. In your car. In your couch cushions. And you are about to find out exactly what to look for. Here's the kicker, in 2017, the US Mint released a massive number of quarters into circulation. Billions of them. But hidden in that massive batch were a few that are worth an absolute fortune. And we're not talking about $100. We are talking about a life-changing amount of money. Now, what's the secret? It's not about the design, although that's part of it. In 2017, the Mint was rolling out the America the Beautiful quarters. They were honoring incredible places like the Ozark Riverways in Missouri and the Effigy Mounds in Iowa. Almost 210 million of these were struck at the Denver Mint. But this is where it gets good. Most of those coins. They are just worth 25 cents. Face value. But a tiny fraction of a percent of those coins have something called a mint error. And these aren't just smudges. This is where the printing process, the striking of the coin, went haywire in a way that makes collectors go crazy. For example, imagine the coin looks like it was struck twice. You can actually see a ghost image overlapping the design. This is called a double die error. On the 2017 D quarter, if you look at the lettering, specifically, "In God We Trust," or the date, 2017, and you see a clear split or a second set of letters right next to the originals, that's the jackpot. That specific variety can be worth over $1,000, even in decent shape. But wait, don't get too excited yet. You have to know what you're looking for because sometimes this is a trick called machine doubling. Machine doubling is just the die bouncing during the strike. It creates a flat, shelf-like shift. It's a nothing burger. It adds zero value. But a true double die. That has rounded corners and a split in the actual design. It adds value. Huge value. Now, have you ever seen a coin that looks like it's peeling? Like the silver color is rubbing off to reveal a copper core. A missing clad layer error is a massive one. Because a normal quarter is basically a copper sandwich, if that outer layer is missing on the heads or tails side, the coin looks totally different. That's worth a premium. Dramatic examples with a missing clad layer have sold for up to $200 at specialty auctions. But this next one is my favorite because it's visual and easy to spot. It's the improperly annealed error. Annealing is the process of heating and cooling the metal blank before it's hit with the die. If that process is messed up, the coin ends up with weird colors, either blotchy dark spots, an unnatural golden brown tone, or a washed out, pale appearance that just looks wrong. It's a subtle clue that the coin is a manufacturing oddity. If you see a coin that looks like it has a weird sunburn, hold on to it. But what about the big money? The multi-$1,000 scores. This is where we need to talk about something the major websites don't tell you. While specific errors are great, the real explosion in value happens when you combine high grade with the right coin. Remember the Ozark Riverways quarter? The one I mentioned earlier? Here is the mind blower. A 2017 D Ozark Riverways quarter sold for $1,695. That's not a typo. A single quarter, worth $1,695. This happened because it was graded MS-68, meaning it was nearly perfect, and it was one of the best examples of that specific design. But the rabbit hole goes deeper. We have to talk about the D Mint mark. The Denver Mint struck a ton of coins. But they also produced S Mint mark proof coins in San Francisco. And there are stories about specific 2017 proofs and special strikes that are incredibly rare. While the text from the auction house shows standard values, an MS-67 going for just $16, that indicates just how dependent this value is on the specific coin condition and the error. So, what's the bottom line? The rumor of the $1,000,2017 D quarter isn't just about a mint state grade. It's about the perfect storm, the right error, doubled die, missing layer, improper anneal, the right grade, MS-68 or higher, which is extremely rare, and the right buyer. While $1 million is highly unlikely for a modern quarter, a few $1,000s is very real. I want you to go check your change right now. The 2017 D is the key. Look at the date. Look at the D Mint mark. Then look closely at the lettering. Is it crisp? Doubled? Is the color off? Are there weird spots? Even if you don't find the $1 million jackpot, finding a high-grade error coin is like finding a winning lottery ticket hiding in your cup holder. So, next time you're at the store, pay with cash and get some quarters back. And if you find one, do not spend it. Do not clean it. And definitely don't tell everyone you know, until you check the value, that is. Make sure to subscribe and hit that bell right now so you don't miss our next video. We're digging into hidden money secrets that could be sitting in your attic or in the sofa you're sitting on right now. Thanks for watching, and good luck hunting. Have you ever held a quarter in your hand, looked at it, and just thought, it's just 25 cents? What if I told you that a specific quarter, minted just a few years ago, could be worth $1 million? Not 100, not 1,000, but 1 million. And you might have one sitting in your car's cup holder right now. Today, we are talking about the 2021 P. Washington crossing the Delaware quarter. This isn't just a piece of change. It's a ticket to financial freedom for one lucky person out there. But here is the catch, most people who have this coin have no idea what they are holding. They are spending $1 million coins on gum and soda. Don't be that person. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what makes this specific coin so incredibly valuable. We're talking about a coin with a mintage of over 838 million. So, how is it possible that a coin with that many copies out there is worth a fortune? That's the mystery we're about to solve. First, let's set the scene. In 2021, the US Mint did something huge. They brought back the classic obverse design of George Washington for the quarter. But they gave it a brand new reverse, showing him crossing the Delaware River. This was a massive change, making it the first permanent redesign of the quarter in decades. Collectors went nuts for it. But here is where it gets interesting. When you have a mintage of over 838 million coins from the Philadelphia Mint alone, you have a ton of coins out there. Most of them are just worth a quarter. Or maybe a buck or two if they are in perfect condition. So, where does the $1 million value come from? It comes from the mistakes. You see, when you're making almost $1 billion of something, things are going to go wrong. And in the world of coins, the things that go wrong are worth the most money. We are talking about errors. Specifically, on the 2021 P quarter, there are two major errors that turn this common coin into a goldmine. The first one is the die chip error. Now, I want you to picture this. On the back of the coin, you have Washington leading his troops. Look closely at his hat. On the top of the back part of the hat, you might see a little extra blob of metal. That's a die chip. It happens when a tiny piece of the die that stamps the coin breaks off, leaving a raised bump on the coin. If you find a quarter with a small die chip on the hat, you are looking at a coin that could sell for $30, maybe $50. Not bad, right? But what if that die chip is massive? What if it's a huge chunk of extra metal? Then, you're not looking at $50. You are looking at a coin that can sell for up to $200. That's a pretty good return on your 25 cents. But $200 is nothing compared to what we are talking about today. We're talking about $1 million. So, where is that $1 million coin? This is where the story gets really wild. The $1 million rumors are often tied to a different kind of error, a double die. This is where the design on the die is engraved twice, slightly offset, creating a ghost-like, doubled image on the coin. You see, most people look at their coins and just see the date, the face, and the building. They don't see the tiny details. They don't see the P mint mark next to Washington's ponytail that tells you it was made in Philadelphia. But you are not most people now. You're in the know. That brings us to the $1 million question. How do you find this coin? Well, first, stop spending your change without looking at it. Seriously. Every single time you get a quarter back in change, you need to check the date. If it's a 2021, you flip it over. You look at the reverse. And you scan that hat for any imperfections. The hunt is part of the thrill. Imagine the feeling. You're checking your pocket change, you pull out a quarter that looks a little weird, you look closer, and you see that massive die chip, or you see the doubling. Your heart starts to race. You just found a coin that could change your life. Now, I'm not going to just tell you to look for it and leave you hanging. Let's build that suspense even more. You need to know exactly what you are looking for. On the obverse, look for the P mint mark. That's your starting point. It means it was struck in Philadelphia. The Philadelphia Mint is known for producing some of the most valuable errors in U.S. history. Then, you need to look at the quality. Is it uncirculated? Is it shiny? Is it in perfect condition? A coin's grade is everything. A coin that is heavily circulated might be worth a few bucks for the error, but a coin that is pristine, that is mint state, that is where the big money is. That's why, if you think you have one of these, you need to protect it. Don't clean it. Seriously, don't ever clean a coin. It destroys the value. Put it in a protective case. And then, you need to get it graded. Companies like PCGS and NGC are the gold standard. They will authenticate your coin and give it a grade. That grade is what tells collectors that this is the real deal and how much it is worth. Let me tell you, the feeling of finding a valuable coin is addictive. It's like a treasure hunt every time you get change. This is the secret that coin collectors have known for years. They know that you don't have to be a millionaire to collect valuable things. You just have to know what to look for. So, what are you waiting for? Go check your coin jar, your pockets, and even under your couch cushions. You might just have a life-changing coin sitting there waiting to be discovered. And before you go, I want you to do something for me. In the comments below, tell me, have you ever found a weird-looking coin? Do you think you've ever spent a coin worth more than 25 cents? I read every single comment, and I want to hear your stories. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the hidden world of coins, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We are always uncovering secrets that could be sitting right in front of you. Don't miss out on the next hidden treasure. Who knows what we'll find next? Subscribe now, and as always, happy hunting.